How to delegate more effectively in your business. You may not be bad at delegation, you might just be bad at documenting the things before you can delegate it. Every time you go behind somebody and redo their work, you're just reinforcing that you don't trust them. And that's a cycle you don't want to create. By the end of this video, you're going to know the 3 steps to effective delegation across any system. So we have the privilege of working with a lot of business owners, and this is a pretty common theme. You talk to them and you go, hey, how do you delegate? You go, well, I just tell them what to do and hope for the best. It's kind of like, Peepaw back in the creek. He taught me how to swim by throwing me in the creek. Well, Peepaw probably should have gone to jail for doing that. Honestly, there's a much better way to teach people how to swim. And it's called swim lessons. And we don't have to freak people out and bother the moms or any of that sort of thing. We can actually effectively teach somebody how to do another thing, but we've got to learn the art of delegation. So there are 3 non-negotiables in delegation before I show you an actual map that you can use that'll save you a bunch of time. We call them the PTA model. And so the PTA model, first we've got to process what that delegation looks like. I can't send an element or an item or a task to somebody else unless I've processed out what that thing actually looks like. So we're in a coaching and advisory business, and so you could look at us and go, we really don't have a concrete product. What we're offering is wisdom, advice, methodologies, a system, that sort of thing. And so you can look at that, and in the first few years of running our business, I realized that in order for me to bring in other people so that they had the opportunity to liberate owners from chaos and scale our mission, I had to put my methodology, my wisdom into a package, into a system, and then once it was in a system, then I could train that system over and over again. And so now we've got the Business on Purpose operating system so that we can understand what the processes of that system are. In fact, I've got another video that talks about the 4 Ps and the 4 core. That's the core of the Business on Purpose operating system. So you can actually click on the link in the description below and go see what that looks like. So you understand how we've packaged that up, and you get a working model for what that looks like. And once you package it up, you can begin to process it, and processing it makes it bite-sized for everybody else. Now, once you've processed that and made it bite-sized, that's when we start to train it. So we've got to process and then train, and when we train, we've got to train with a little sub-point here of repetition, predictability, and meaning. We don't just train one time. I talked to a landscaper out of Georgia one time, and he was so frustrated with the people who were working for him. And he goes, but I told them. And I said, whoa, when did you tell him? He's like, 6 months ago, and they still hadn't done it. I said, have you told them since? No, because I told him then. He was all gruff and frustrated. I was like, hey, settle down, cowboy. What we need to do is we need to start training every week. We need to tell them and tell them again and tell them again. You know one of the favorite phrases of a sports coach? Do it again. I used to play football in college, and one of the favorite phrases of my coaches, my position coaches, hey, good job, man. Do it again. Do it again. Just yesterday, one of our team members gave his first talk on this one particular subject in front of a big room of business owners. He asked me how he did at the end. I said, yeah, this was really good and this is better, but here's my ultimate encouragement to you. Do it again. Get as many reps as you can possibly get. And so this idea of processing, and then we train with repetition, predictability, and meaning, which leads us to the third element of that, and that's the accountability. We do need to be checking back in, but not in a way of micromanagement. And so here's how we diagnose micromanagement. Management or healthy leadership is made up with the right question at the right time. We call it the seesaw of predictability. So you've got a fulcrum here in the middle, and you've got a question mark over here, you've got time over here. If you ask the right question at the right time, that's healthy leadership. But if you ask the wrong question at the right time, so wrong question, hey, give me 2010 sales reports. That was a long time ago. But you asked it during the sales meeting, that's the right time, but you asked the wrong question, that's micromanagement. Flip side of that, if you asked for last week's sales results, but you asked for it in a text on Friday night at 11:37 p.m., that's the wrong time. That's micromanagement. We want to ask the right questions at the right time. It is well within your bounds to ask accountability. Around these processes that you've trained, you just got to ask the right questions at the right time. So how do we actually delegate the tasks that are on our plate? I want to introduce you to something that we call the delegation roadmap. Now this follows a methodology that I'm going to draw a little kind of shrub over here. And I want you to imagine your job role and what you're doing as the owner of the business as a shrub. And over time that shrub grows and you're like, it's getting heavy and it's starting to lean and I don't know what to do and I need help. I need other people to be able to take the elements of this shrub and start to do it themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim the hedge. And so all of this out here, we're going to start to process, train, and hold account and make sure they have that. Now beware, over time, once you start to delegate this, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second, this shrub will start to grow again. And you'll start to go, God, I feel heavier now, even after I delegated. How did I have time to do all that stuff? Because your business is growing. It's actually a sign of health. And so about once a year, we encourage owners to go through the delegation roadmap exercise because new things come into this. So let me show you how to go through it. First thing you need to do is set your timer for about 10 minutes, and I want you to list down every process that you do. So if you're doing payroll, write down payroll. If you're doing sales calls, write down sales calls. If you're taking out the trash at your office, I want you to write it down, and I mean that granularly. I want you to get as detailed and as granular as you possibly can because your time as an owner is worth about $200 to $1,000 per hour. I am not messing around with this. So we want to delegate effectively. We've got to write down every task that we should do. I want to give you a little heads up. There should be no less than 50 tasks on this list. If there's not at least 50, either you're not being detailed enough with the task or you're not being intellectually honest with yourself about what you actually do day to day. Okay, so let's say that you've got all this on here, and then you go, I've got sales calls, and usually I spend about 5 hours a week on sales calls. So we put 5 hours. We actually prefer you to do this in minutes. So it'd be 5 times 60. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to do it out loud because my math doesn't math very often. And so we're going to put 5 hours or whatever those minutes are here. And under each task that you do, I want you to think every week. Now you're like, well, I only do payroll once a month. Okay, take the amount of time it does, divide it by 52 weeks out of the year or 4 weeks in a month or whatever. So I want you to time this out because we want to get an accurate description of how much time you spend on average every week with all of these tasks that are done. So take 15 minutes to list out the task. Then you'll take about 5 minutes to just go put all the time that's involved in that. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to rank this by energy. And so it's going to be an up, a down, or a neutral, just like that. And so you're going to go next to each task. You're going to payroll. You know what? I really don't enjoy that. That's a down. Sales calls. I actually enjoy that. So that's an up. Trash. I hate it. Down. And you just keep going. Again, be honest. Don't put an up just because you feel like you're supposed to put an up. If it really doesn't give you energy, sucks the life out of you, put a down. This is just for you right now, okay? So we're going to build all this stuff out, and then we're going to go and rank it on delegatability. I made that word up, so don't look it up. Delegatability goes on a 1, a 2, or a 3. A 1 means only me and Jesus could possibly do this one thing, right? There shouldn't be many of those. In fact, out of your entire list, maybe 2 to 5%. Well, Scott, you don't understand my business. Listen, special snowflake, I'm teasing. Like, don't be offended. But the reality is, most people we can train to do the things that we can do. There's really only a couple of big things like high-level vision and strategy that are really on you as the owner. But outside of that, most every other task is either a 2 or a 3. What does that mean? A 2 is a task that I thought I was the only one that could do this, but okay, if you kind of twist my arm, I guess I could delegate that task. Okay, great. Most people think they have to read their own email. No, you don't. I've actually delegated my email and I spend 5 to 7 minutes a day on it because I get a report at the end of the day. I put this down. Cal Newport says on average, owner spends 3.5 hours per day on email. So take 3 times 5, that's 15 hours a week on email at $200 per hour. Are you kidding me? We're wasting our life and our resources on email. And so I put a triple down by email. I hate email. I think it's from the devil and I think it sucks your soul. And so I put email and we figured out a way to process it. I've trained our team member who's our implementation assistant on how to do it. And then I hold her accountable. Every month we have a check-in to go over that and she sends me a report every day. So I understand what that looks like. So we come down here and a 3 is a task that I should have delegated this a long time ago, like taking out the trash, doing bank runs, all that. I should have delegated that a long time ago, but I haven't. All right, so once you've got this down, it's 1, 2, 3, up, down, or sideways, the time. Here's what we're looking for. I want you to take the task that you spend the most amount of time, it sucks the life out of you, and it's delegatable. And put that in a list and you've just created a job role for somebody that you can delegate to. So now what we need to do is take these processes, process them out, train them, hold them accountable in a weekly meeting, and now you're going to start to delegate in a powerful way. Don't you feel lighter already? Doesn't this shrub start to feel like you're trimming it up already? Now, I know what you're thinking. You got some anxiety going, but where do I find the people? Don't worry, I got a killer video for you. Click on the link in the description below. It'll take you to the video on how to find and onboard the proper people in order to be able to delegate this to. Make sure you watch the video to the end because I've got a free gift that we built. It's an employee training handbook. It will blow your mind, and there's a ton of templates that are chock full with it that'll be of real help to you. Why? Because we're here to liberate you from chaos to make time for the things that matter most, and we can't do it if you won't do the work. So go watch that video so that we can help liberate you from that chaos.